Now, I work across small business and also not-for-profit groups, and digital strategy and implementation is very similar, if not the same, across. So I will be basically framing them as the same. The first step, though, is a little bit different. And so the overall bigger picture, if your business, where to start is how to make money. Are you going to be doing a service, charging per hour? Are you going to be buying wholesale and retailing? Well, a whole bunch of different business ideas. So in that context, how are you planning on actually making money? Bigger picture. With community activism, we look at the theory of change. Like, how do we think we can create change for the issue we're looking at? In that context, we're looking at more things like who are we targeting or what are we targeting, or we're looking at systems. So, for example, you might say, well, if we can get all the politicians to agree on our issue, therefore we'll create change. Then the next thing we then look at is the campaign strategy or business plan. So this is the actual applying your theory to an actual plan. And I'm not talking about a business plan like you'd give to a bank. In this context, we want to look quite simplistically. Most important thing is to look at our audience. Who are our audience? And then we also want to look at how we're going to connect with them. The next is your brand and personality. So this is how you're going to present yourself to your audience and how you're going to portray yourself out in the world. Your business, or it may be you as an individual if you're a consultant. Then we want to look at the user journey. The user journey is the key part of digital strategy, and we'll be obsessing over this through the course. Now, the user journey means that your audience or customer, where they start on their journey, which may be the first interaction with you, maybe that's an ad or a poster or word of mouth referral, and then we then go through the process of how they then interact with your business, how you then transact. So a transaction may be a sale, it may be a coming along to an event, something like that. Then we will look at how we measure this process and how do we improve it. And part of this, we then need to budget and time, like how long is it going to take us to support a user journey? How long is it going to take us to manage the process? Now, the digital strategy is a subset of your business plan or campaign strategy. So if you've got an online business, then your digital strategy and business plan are pretty much the one thing. Now, if you're, say, a tourism business, a large part of your business is offline and a whole bunch of your processes are offline. And in this context, your digital strategy is only the digital part to support your bigger picture business. So sort of a subpart of it, subgroup. Now we're looking at specifically the digital components to support your business plan. So in that case, we're going to look at your domain and your social media handles, user journey that we'll focus on. Now, we need to define what are our goals for our website and social assets. Like, for example, with our website, what do we want it to actually do to support the user journey, to support the business plan? We need to think about content planning and systems. If you're running any social media, you need to be producing content or sourcing content. Your website's going to need content, and a whole bunch of other things are going to need content. So we need to start planning and thinking about how we're going to produce or license buy content. We also explore keyword planning, which is used to then optimize for search engines. And it's a very useful process to go through to work out how people are going to find you, what words, those sort of things. And then we're also going to look at social media and planning for social media. Now, a lot of businesses, it's not appropriate to spend much resources on social media, whereas other businesses can benefit very heavily from social media. So that's why we want to plan strategically rather than say we should have social media, we should spend a lot of money on it. Let's actually look at what the return on investment of social media is in context to your audience and their user journey. Now, from there, we need to then work out our digital assets. So these are the different tools and applications that we need then to support your strategy. So where we start is that we have a tech brief for functionality. So basically we list all the things that we need in our digital strategy to be able to support our user journey, website, for example. Then we, if you've already got things in place, then we'll audit them. And then we'll select new tools, or if you're starting, we'll select new tools that will allow us to provide the functionality we need for our digital strategy. So for example, we need a website, we might set up some Facebook, etc., etc. Then we need to set these tools up, and then we got to learn how to use them. Every tool that we use is complex on its own right, and we need to learn how to use it. So I've recommended some assets here, and this will be different depending on different your use case scenarios. So this is what we'll workshop in the sessions, like what are these tools that are actually relevant for you. Now, just generally, the priority assets are a website. Your website is your key digital asset, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. You need email. Well, most businesses need email. Google business profiles are very powerful. Social media accounts. Now, even if you're not really using social media accounts, it's still wise to register them and have a basic presence up there so you can be found via those platforms. We need measurement systems so we can track how things are working and work on how to improve things, and also see, are we wasting money and time in these areas that aren't actually working for us? And then we need to work out the apps that we need for our required functionality. So if you're a tourism business, we'll need something so you could add all your properties and rooms, and then you can book it. Now, content system. So again, we need to add content to our website, and we need to add it to our socials and various other marketing activities. So we need to start with the brand. Do you have a brand, logo, colors, that sort of thing? How do we get one? We need to work out how we're going to produce imagery, how we're going to produce copy, video. As part of that's hardware and software. So I'm recording this video on my mobile phone that's connected through free software through my laptop, connected to my microphone. And so in that context, we're like, what tools have you got? Now, the good news is that phones are really good and really powerful. So you can start using your phone as a primary media production. So we're just going to put in some systems and learn how to use the system so we can get from your phone onto the websites. And that involves some editing skills, and it involves some publishing and how to publish. Now, a key tool is our website. And so website goals are really important. So to work out what are you trying to do with your website. Now, UX stands for user experience. So it's similar to the user journey and information design. So this is where we design your website to make sure it has all the things that we need to support the user journey. So for example, if you've got a tourism business, we need a book now button pretty high up. We would want some photos to show the great accommodation, some custom reviews to show that the business is respected, a contact button. So in that context, our information design is planning all the things that we need on our website, and then we present them and prioritize them. So do we have a menu item about contact? How many menu items we have, that sort of stuff. So then we plan that very strategically to make sure that the website achieves our goals. From there, we add our content and asset integration. So in that context, how do we put the various tools that you need onto your website? So for example, if it's a booking engine, it could be a book now button, or it could be added to your website. Maybe it's a link that goes to a separate website to do your bookings. So we work through what's the best experience to actually integrate that with your website. Or if you're a consultant, you may have a calendar scheduler so people can make appointments based on your calendar. And we work out where's the best spot for that on your website. We also want to optimize the website for search and social optimization. So the website can be easily found by search engines. So if people share your website on social media, then it's displayed well. And search optimization is also really important in the age of AI now, because AI is scraping data in the same way as search engines. So if you optimize for search engines, you also optimize for getting your information on AI results. and analytics so we can measure what's happening so that we can make decisions around our marketing. Now, support assets for this are Canva, which is a really great free tool which allows you to make graphics, edit photos, do a bunch of graphic design. It's a really good tool and I recommend that you use it, and we'll be working on that through this session. Email database, so MailChimp, for example, some tool where you can send email and people can subscribe to email. Social media manager. Now, if you're using social media as a key strategy, I recommend a social media manager. And what that does is it brings all your assets into one interface, which is far easier to use than, say, Facebook's clunky tools. And that means you can manage all the messages and all the comments and publish and do a publishing calendar. So it makes it far more efficient and far better experience for you to manage your social accounts. Stripe we use to transact credit cards. So if you've got any sort of e-commerce, it's a great tool for that. And Zoom is a key tool for my business where I run meetings, workshops over Zoom, video conferencing. I'd also recommend some management assets. So this is actual business management. So Asana is a project management tool which helps you manage tasks. Now there's a bunch of other tools that you may want to use. If you really don't want to use a project management tool, then at least have document with tasks on it. Some of this stuff can get complex and you really want to start managing and prioritizing tasks. So there may be a bunch of parts of your marketing that aren't a priority but are important, and they will be down the list and you'll forget about them for later. However, then you're only working on the priority stuff. So it's really important to start having a system to manage tasks. Xero is an accounting software, which then syncs to Australian bank accounts, which just makes managing business easier. And a bunch of tools that you may use will sync with Xero, so Stripe, for example. Now, email client and filters. So this is a software that you run on your desktop, which manages your email. Now, this sounds a little simple. However, most people don't know how to use their email well. And email filters allows you to automate organizing of your email, which is really a time saver and really important to learn how to do. Calendar, it should be basic why we need a calendar for running a business, and also a password manager. Now, password manager is key because you're now going to be setting up a bunch of assets and you're going to be building the value of them. So they'll be worth money to your business. You're spending time and effort, and you don't want that hacked. Also, you may be having personal data on your customers and clients. You can't have that hacked. In fact, you don't want any of your systems hacked. So that means you're going to have to improve your digital security and have unique passwords for these different assets, but then also have long passwords. Now, most people can't remember passwords, so you have a password manager. Now, some of the advanced assets that you may have is a CRM. Now, this is like MailChimp's a CRM, which allows you to manage relationships with your customers. And that then allows you to do much more sophisticated things with your marketing and customer service and support. And a calendar scheduler I mentioned earlier, this is where clients can come and book time with you on an online calendar. Okay, so this is a visualization of user journey. This is based on community activism, but it also just applies to business. We'll just use a different language. So first we start with marketing. So this is how do we find the people? How do we connect with people? And there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can market and connect to people. One of them is word of mouth, door knocking, posters, t-shirts, email, social media, etc. So then we want to get them into your database so then you can communicate with them. So you can get people into a database by, they might just sign up for your newsletter, or they may donate, they may buy something, might sign a petition or enter a competition, you might manually add them, or share data, obviously with strict permission from the people whose data you're sharing into your database. So from there, we can then invite people to come to an event and actually get together as people. So you might have a rally or an info event, party, film night, maybe a planning meeting, workshop training, arts, whatever. And then from there, we want to get those people into actual active people in your campaign. So you want them to actually volunteer or participate. be an advocate, or do some research or promote. It's a whole bunch of roles. Now, in that context, you'd be using your database to then be able to contact the people. So, for example, to invite them to volunteer. So if you've got the information at a rally, you could then email them, they can come along to the next thing. Then the next step is, how do you get people who are active participants to become leaders? And you can then start giving people responsibility, giving them resources and tools, mentorship, etc., etc. The CRM database allows you to manage all those relationships, because you can tag people. Have they come to an event? Are they active? Are they leaders, etc., etc. So in a business context, you then may use marketing, come into your database through maybe signing up to a promotion or a newsletter, and then you would send them. You could then send them promotions and specials, and then they can then sign up and become customers, etc., etc. So it's really important to map out your user journey of where people come from, and then how do you actually transact to them. So this diagram is showing a similar concept in a different visualization. So on the outside are all the different marketing ways of connecting with people. And then we want to then lead them to our central node, which is our website. Then from there, we get them we want to sign them up or get them into our database. So the principle of this strategy of marketing is that we go to social media, we do SEO, we do all these things, and our primary aim is to get them to our website, which then allows us to connect with them digitally. So then we can then further that process. Now, ideally, if you're selling something, then you would then skip the sign up and then go straight to try and use your website to make that sale or whatever. But this is a really important way of thinking of marketing.